Damn. Damn.
What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Jimmy Johnson Jr., and I'm back with my podcast for Vitamin Sports. When we take vitamins every day, it's like we talk about sports every day. Today is a new day. Today is a new day. It's a new day. How do y'all feeling today, man? I'm feeling good, man. First, I want to give a shout out to Kanye for, writing a paper about me, man. I look forward to reading that. Be sure to send that to me. First, we're going to talk about these other sports, man. I know y'all tired of hearing me talk about football. I know y'all tired of me hearing talking about basketball. But what we're going to talk about today is the other sports need love, too. Why in Baltimore, we never talk about swimming? There's so many kids out here that don't know that there's a swim team at their school or there's recreational swim teams out there. Why don't we talk about that? Why don't we influence these kids nowadays to think outside the box other than basketball and football? Baseball is the #1 sport in America and played all over the world. And we don't talk about baseball. Why? Why baseball don't get love and baseball makes the most money in America? And I think it's top 4 in the world. Come on now, man. Let's make it make sense now. We got to start talking about other sports. We got to start talking about track and field. There's kids out there that want to go to the Olympics and don't know what it takes. And I think sometimes people need to come and say, you know what? In order for you to be great in track and field, you got to come back. You got to train. You got to train your whole entire life. With baseball, you got to train at a very young age. Baseball is one of those sports that you can't just jump into and just think you're going to be great at it. No, baseball takes hard work, dedication, and years and years and years of work. When I mean years and years of work, years and years of work. Look at the MLB. Look how hard is it to get to professional baseball, like the MLB standard, Major League Baseball. It takes a lot of work. And you could just have a good career in baseball and not make it far. They won't put you in the Hall of Fame just because you did some great things in there. No. You got to be extraordinary. You got to do things we've never seen before. And that's why baseball is so hard to make. You got to go to the minor leagues before you go to the major leagues. And then with swimming, you have to train. Swimming requires you to eat a lot because you're going to burn a lot of calories and fat because swimming works your whole entire body. I should know. I did swimming when I was little. I did swimming when I was in middle school. I did swimming when I was in high school. And, I swam a little bit, not professionally but I did swimming in, I trained people in college. I helped some of my friends swim. But in high school, I was the man at swimming. So I'm telling you, my best stroke was freestyle, man. The 50 freestyle relays was my favorite race because it was like me against the world out there. Like I had to push. It's like race car driving. You gotta drive, man. You gotta know the angles. You gotta know the movements. It's like me flowing through the water. It's just like, man, it's like you on Avatar, man. The air bending, water bending, fire bending, stuff like that. But swimming changed my life, man. And I think kids nowadays should be looking at all sports because all sports can change your life. Look at boxing. Look at the kids at Upton Boxing Gym. The kids come in there every day. They might not know how to box. They might not know how to fight professionally, but they come in there and the coaches teach them everything. They teach them not only the skills in the boxing ring, but skills of life. Shout out to Coach Calvin. Shout out to Coach Kenny. Shout out to Coach Sean. All the coaches at Upton, man, that teach these kids the way of boxing. And I know I'm making it sound like it's a form of martial arts, but it's a form of fighting. And it requires you to be disciplined. If you're not disciplined, how are you going to learn to be the best? And that's what boxing at Upton Gym has taught a lot of kids. And I've seen a lot of kids come in and are different when they leave out. Hey, man, you got to learn how to master other sports. You got to learn how to do other things. Like, I see a lot of kids don't find the other sports sexy. Like hockey. You gotta learn how to ice skate and you gotta learn how to play lacrosse, because that's what I think hockey is to me. It's a combination of lacrosse and ice skating. Even lacrosse. There's a lot of football players out there that used to play lacrosse. Hell, Chris Hogan. I think he's in the National Lacrosse League. He played lacrosse. Shout out to Melly. Melly did lacrosse, football, and wrestling. Hell, wrestling. You can travel the whole world and do wrestling. You can go to WWE, NXT, some of these minor companies that does wrestling. Even though it's entertainment, it's still a form of wrestling as well. MMA, mixed martial arts. You have to be dedicated to that too, because that's just not something you can just come into. Now, we've seen guys come into these forms of fighting, and they be great. Like, look at Rolly Romero, 16 fights before Tanks, and he came in and he won a belt. That's phenomenal. There's a lot of kids that start out late in boxing, but they don't always translate to greatness. So you got to put in the work. It's one of those things where you have to say, I want to be the best. And in order for you to be the best, you got to train like you're the best that has ever done it. And I think these other sports deserve love. Tennis, Serena Williams, she's making tennis sexy. Osaka, Naomi Osaka, come on now. She's making it sexy too. You got to think outside the box. Track and field, Olympics. When you do one Olympics, do you know you can set for life? You can put your family away with riches. Your face can be on the boxing stereo. If you have one good year in the Olympics, you'll be famous. Everybody will want to be you. But a lot of people don't do that and give back to the schools where they say, well, this kid deserves to be in the Olympics. Like, you have to train. Don't get me wrong. Training requires a lot with these other sports. And I think a lot of people don't do these other sports is because the training is so hard. Tennis, you got to have good footwork and you got to have stamina. Boxing, good footwork, stamina, and you got to be disciplined. You got to be patient. You got to know when to set up the right punches. The 1, 2, 3, 4, you know. You got to be patient. You got to read your opponents. That's why in boxing, the best tool for a boxer is his muscle memory, because he has to be able to figure out his opponent based on how his opponent is striking or how his opponent is, positioning himself on this punch, on that punch, or how he feel when I give him that hook. It's a lot that goes into these other sports. Hell, swimming. Swimming, you have to be disciplined. Swimming, you have to be in shape. Swimming shape is no joke. Just like I saw a video where it says wrestling is no joke. Like, swimming and wrestling, you have to be in a different kind of shape. Like, there are a lot of people that think they can play basketball and then jump into swimming. It don't work like that. Basketball, yeah, you can be in shape. But swimming, wrestling, and boxing, and track and field, these other sports, man, you got to be in tip-top shape. You got to be in shape like you going to the military. Basically, you got to do a lot of different things on your body. You got to have enough energy to be broken down and enough energy to be built back up. That's what you see in martial arts. They make you do certain exercises and then they'll teach you how to fight. Because when you're tired, you start to pick up on things a little bit better. And then once you get the energy, get the hang of the technique, you start going into depth of like, yeah, I'm about to do some damage. Like, yeah, I'm about to, what the? Yeah, so it's just one of those things where you got to pay attention to like the technique. And it's like, even doing broadcasting, there's required technique. You have to be able to give your opinion, and then you have to state facts behind your opinion. But back onto the point of these other sports, they deserve love too. It's like one of those things where it's on the other side of the world and you don't know nothing about it. You heard about it, but you don't know like really anything about it than what you hear say. So what you do is you try it out and it's like, yeah, this is a whole nother ball game. I got to prepare myself to be better than what I need to be. Like, if I was to say I want to do boxing, just use an example. I would need to watch all the workouts boxers do. I would definitely need to pay close attention of how Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, Coach Sean, Coach Curry, of how all those coaches down at Upton, Coach Bryant, how they train their guys. I see a lot of the guys in there, running. I see a lot of guys in there lifting. A lot of guys do different things for different purposes. Some guys, wear sweat bags because they need to get in shape. They got the muscle build, but they need to get in shape, need to cut the fat out. And that's why they got a list in the gym of where you need to stop eating these certain different foods. It's not good for you. Hard work and dedication. You got to be willing to sacrifice in these other sports. It's not like basketball. It's not like football. It's not like something you can just pick up and do. You got to train. And I know somebody would say, well, you got to train for football and basketball. Yeah, but not to the extent of what these other guys are doing. Why do you think so many basketball players, football players do boxing, swimming, track and field, all that? Because that helps them dominate their sport. But it can't be the other way around, because you can't just train for basketball and think you're going to come out there and do swimming. It's not going to work like that. You can't do that thinking you're going to do that for baseball. It's not going to do that. See, baseball helps quarterbacks throw. That's why you see a lot of quarterbacks come from baseball, like Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, guys that play baseball. Then you see a lot of the times with boxing and martial arts, you got guys like, what's his name, Le'Veon Bell, Chad Ochocinco, Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore. And then in basketball, same thing. They do the same thing because they use these other sports to train for them in their sport. But the other sports is harder. That's why when you hear a lot of the athletes say, man, this ain't got nothing to do with boxing, tennis, lacrosse, baseball, none of that. Even though some of these sports get paid more than basketball and football because they're worldwide. You can go play baseball anywhere. You can go do lacrosse anywhere. You can go and do swimming anywhere. You can go do boxing, MMA, any form of fighting. You can do that anywhere because a lot of the military use those fighting styles too. So it's just something to think about. Give these other sports some love, man. I'm your host, Jimmy Johnson Jr., man, and let's share the love with everybody.